When I turned 80, I began to realize I was coming into the fourth quarter of my life. I knew that I needed to plan ahead to think about how to be my best self. And I knew that I couldn't do that just by getting older and playing more golf and sitting on the couch and watching television. So I got together with a bunch of my friends and I said, what can we do going forward in our lives to make our lives the best we can make them and the most creative and stay interesting?
And so we started meeting in our living room, and the options didn't look very attractive to any of us, and so we started to explore the idea of co-housing, which is a Danish concept of a group of people coming together intentionally and forming a group, designing, building, and then occupying a community of residents with common facilities. It turned out there was just anywhere near Pasadena that we could do this because the city was built out, basically. And we all sat around looking at each other. Our group had kind of grown a little bit and saying, we don't really want to leave Pasadena. We don't want to go to the outskirts or into the desert or to another state. We love this town. One of our early members, Elsie Sadler, said, you know, I was just in Boston as part of her role as, I think, chairman of the Sophie Miller Foundation, which was attached to the Episcopal Communities and Services. They decided to spend some time with the Boston Beacon Hill Village. So she said, you know, you ought to look at this village idea. So we Googled it, and here we saw this group of people getting together in their own community to create a way for people to stay in their community as long as possible.
This is not a place, this is a concept. The village concept is to simply provide a means that elders can stay in their own home. That's the significant part of it, and enjoy all of the advantages they might have in a nice retirement home. And by that I mean all of the social activities.
Okay, so Thursday morning you need a ride to Fair Oaks in California, right?
They've joined an organization that they can participate in. They're all part of it, and they can contribute and volunteer. And they can join groups of other people that have similar interests.
Oh, that is so beautiful.
And the research library is one of the largest independent research libraries in the country.
So all of those things make up the village concept.
As soon as we learned about the village, we started meeting on a regular basis every week. We'd have breakfast and just sit there around the breakfast table and talk about what are the pieces that we have to put on the table? How do we begin to get a board of people who will work together? We need somebody who's going to be good at computers, who can set up a website. And we'll need somebody who has experience with the medical aspects of aging. And we'll need somebody who's very good at doing the finances. And then we'll have to find a person who's willing to be a director with a very small office. If they have to give up their home, they don't want to have to go out to
During that period, we also started having picnics. Once a month, we would get our little band together and invite people in that we thought might be interested in our village. And 20 people would show up, and 3 or 4 would raise their hand and say, I'd like to come along on this ride. And some have become board members, and others have become members. And that reaching out became a part of our personality.
We'll be partnered with various organizations in Pasadena. We've already struck up partnerships with the Huntington Senior Care Network, the Senior Center, and there are so many agencies currently in place in Pasadena designed to provide services for seniors that we will be coordinating with them. We're not going to invent services. We're going to connect people to existing services.
It's been proven really that social support, enriches your health and prolongs your life and makes your life more worth living.
I'm going to be here too, but yeah, that's what we should do.
Outsourcing and services that are provided by the Senior Center.
They could still be in their home.
Probably Sierra Madre and like the PUSD districts, but also we got some people from La Cañada and some people from Arcadia. I don't think we're going to kick anybody out.
And so over the course of that year, we kind of began to form the committees that we were going to need to take care of membership development, fundraising, getting the programs right.
And I think we need to start with the hospital.
If you need a roof fixed, you get a referral.
Social activities.
And those who could pay more would have to supplement.
Communications and outreach functions, all those needed volunteers and among us to take our little original band and expand that out into committees, and those all got working. The journey from our early days when Sue came on board to our grand opening, I think was probably about a year of 11 of us just rowing the boat hard so that when we launched, we'd know what we were doing.
Good afternoon.
Hi there.
We're 60 strong now. We've opened for business on July 1 and we're 60 and growing. So would all the members raise their hands who are here, okay?
It makes little difference what our life journey has been up to this point, but the fact is we're all in it together. We're all getting older, and we all have the same needs and concerns as everybody else. And I think it's that common bond, that common interest that makes the village what it is.
The Board of Directors of Episcopal Communities and Services and the trustees of the Sophie Miller Foundation, which is our supporting organization, we are thrilled today to provide a sizable gift to the village that will sustain its executive director for the next year. That gift also includes an amount that will provide scholarship memberships and incidental services for people who otherwise could not afford to join the village. We would like to present a check in the amount of $130,000 to the Pasadena Village. Wishing you well, and knowing there's more to come next year. So build that membership. Congratulations.
And across the top in big letters, kind of, I'll help.
I do think that Pasadena is a good place to incubate these things. We're not too urban, we're established, we got all these things going on. And if we can't do it in Pasadena, you can't do it anywhere. That's how I feel.
The spectrum of services that we provide is quite varied, and it's all of the things that you can sort of picture that a person living in their home and unable to do some of the things that they used to do might require. And so that means, whether it's standing on a ladder and putting in a light bulb, or whether it's fixing a leaking faucet, or whether it's the cat's gone. She got out, and I don't know how to find her.
I just think the idea that you have more friends that will be looking out for you, it's something that we can, I don't think anybody has too many friends.
With kids, as they get in their own lives or whatever, it's hard to get them to come do this or do that, where the Pasadena Village members will probably be there when you need them. Where that your kids, you'll have to say, okay, well, I need my medicine. Well, I'll pick it up, Mom, 2 days later, but I might need it today.
The only service I've taken advantage of when I needed information on where to find someone to fix a couple of broken windows. And surprisingly, 2 volunteers from the Pasadena Village organization came out and took care of removing the windows and taking them to the glass shop and recovering them and reinstalling them.
These are all of the problems that somebody faces, and oftentimes leads them to having to leave their home. And that's the very thing we want to be able to solve, is how to keep somebody in their home.
I like the idea of you only have to go to one place to get an answer. I hate going through those automated phone calls where you got to touch button 1 and then touch button 3 and then touch the star. With Pasadena Village, it's the one phone call. And you get a human being, which is marvelous.
There are different ways in which we can participate in the village. I think that there are times in which we just feel that this gives us the opportunity to give, to serve, and to be of help to other people.
If somebody in the village has gotten sick or broken a leg and is lying in bed, the village people can just volunteer to go and sit by their bed, talk to them, read to them. It gives them a sense of their significance of their lives.
And I have agreed to be a volunteer on the communications committee, and that has proven to be right in the area of which my career was built, which is advertising and promotion. And I've been able to make a contribution there.
For people who, for example, would like to have phone calls every day and to make sure that they're well, that's something they can volunteer. So whether it is giving or receiving, it goes both ways. They have joined an organization in which they can volunteer and which they can receive services comfortably.
To have someone your age talk to you about your computer is very different than having your 17-year-old grandnephew pick it up, do the thumbs, and give it back to you, and you still can't do it. But with our age group, when they take you through it, they do it 1, 2, 3, now you do it, which means when you leave, you can do it.
What happens when I, as a villager, go help one of my villager friends who needs something done? And the first experience was literally me going out to change light bulbs. And I did it, and when we went to say goodbye, the woman who had asked me over came over, gave me a hug, and she had tears in her eyes. And how moved she was that somebody would actually come over and help her out. And that'll make your day.
By asking for services, by needing something, you're actually providing a service to those who then have a chance to make a connection with you and to learn from you.
Being a member of the Pasadena Village has really given me sort of like out of my comfort zone, sort of like not just being afraid to reach out or afraid to meet people, So it has been very helpful to me that I am a member of the Pasadena Village.
When you're getting older and your friends are beginning to die and you're beginning to be worried about your health, there's lots of things that you need. But what you really need is someone who's going through that with you, so you're not alone.
We carry each other along, we ask each other the questions, we get the answers, but most of all, we keep moving. We keep going. And as we go, it's like the ragtag group that brings everybody along because they hear the music, they hear the laughter, they see them, they're colorful, and people want to be a part of that. And I think when you bring that joy, that sense of, aha, it's contagious.
Hey, hi, Margaret. How are you?
Good to see you.
Great to see you.
The Pasadena Village program provides me with a whole environment, an emotional environment and an active community environment, which will allow me to develop into a reasonably interesting older guy.